Hi, and welcome to another episode of Partner Buzz. My name's Richard Wilmot, and in addition to being your host for today, I'm a partner solution architect in Sydney, Australia. Today, it gives me great pleasure to be joined by Dave West, President, Cisco, Asia Pacific, Japan, and Greater China. Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And in case there's any doubt, we're going to be taking a deep dive into networking and why it matters for our joint AWS partners. So Dave, in your incredibly senior and tenured position as a technologist in Cisco and also here in the APJC region, what does your day-to-day tend to look like when you're working with partners and customers?
It's busy. It's exciting. I spend a lot of time with customers and partners. Most of my time is spent listening,
right?
Understanding what's going on, understanding transitions that are happening in the market, and then making sure that I understand, what customers need from us and the capabilities we need to deliver to them to be successful. So I spend a lot of my time listening to my teams, to partners and customers, and also just learning so much about what's happening in markets and industries. And the dynamic environment we live in this part of the world.
And that's a really good point. I think certainly for AWS, the APJC region is critically important for our customers. We've recently opened the region in Malaysia. We've got another region in Thailand scheduled to open soon, as well as our region in Jakarta. So I think we understand it's critically important for our customers, so clearly it's also critical for our partners to be investing in their capabilities in the region as well. What do you see as some of the main challenges? Obviously, as a very strategic player in this region as well, you would have seen some key trends and some key customer concerns. What can you share with our partners about that, Dave?
Well, there's always challenges. In this part of the world, there's geopolitical challenges. Sometimes we see macroeconomic challenges based off of maybe changes in political structures in given countries. And, we have a lot of developing countries in this part of the world, and that always offers incredible opportunities, but also challenges as they begin to try to keep pace with the rest of the world. But when I look at this part of the world, I see a lot more opportunities.
Absolutely.
Than I see challenges. And opportunities in that some of the countries in this part of the world don't have to deal with legacy. They can leapfrog. They don't have to start from where others started, 50, 100 years ago. They can build brand new, fresh capabilities that allow them to move faster and digitize more rapidly. I see a lot of that in this world. But at the same time, as they move very, very rapidly, and they digitize, they may not have the expertise that others have around the world. So they have to deal with cyber threats and how they build digital resilience. And, I think everybody has to deal with those things. But sometimes when you don't have the maturity or you don't have the experience or the understanding, it creates a gap, and it may be a challenge for countries and nations in this part of the world.
And that could be a longer journey to that critical digital transformation, which underpins the economic growth, which we obviously all trying to drive in the region as well, which is interesting. I love that point about that leapfrog. Certainly in ANZ, with the partners I work with a lot, we work with a lot of customers who might have adopted cloud relatively early, and now we're looking at how we can modernize those workload. I think it's great the way you express it, how if there's not that legacy, you can leapfrog that intermediate step. What are you seeing as some of the key benefits of that? Would that be something like SaaS transformation that starts earlier within the business cycle?
Well, we see a lot of digital natives in this part of the world, right? Okay. You see a very thriving startup community in this part of the world.
Absolutely.
And they're not sort of hampered by what others may have had. So sure, they can move quickly to cloud, to drive whatever software or SaaS modernization journey they're on, but also just to build speed and agility to be able to deliver capabilities much more rapidly. And so we see a lot of that happening in this part of the world, and I would expect that. And I also think that we see that happening in other parts of the world as well. Everyone wants speed, they want agility, they want to be able to deliver capabilities faster than their competition or at the speed that their customers demand it. And I think there's an opportunity, or cloud provides them a vehicle by which they can do that faster than potentially they could do it on-prem or in other ways.
So really it's about driving that agility so our customers can serve their customers faster with whatever tools and toolbox they happen to have.
Yeah, it makes it, again, I mean, it's a vehicle that makes it much easier.
Yeah.
And again, speed and agility is super important in today's world where you're moving very, very rapidly. The competition is moving very rapidly. Your customers' demands are moving very rapidly, and it provides a vehicle that potentially they wouldn't have otherwise.
Generally, I think we'd all agree that our customers perhaps are moving the most rapidly of all, and sometimes chasing up to them and helping them look around corners is actually one of our largest challenges. I think Andy Jassy makes the point very concisely that speed matters disproportionately in our business, because customers are always wonderfully dissatisfied, and we have to understand them to meet not just their needs today, but also tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I mean, customers are smart, right?
They are.
They watch their markets, they watch their customer demands. I mean, we say customers, but they have their set of customers. And they watch those customers, they listen to those customers. They have to make sure that they provide the very best customer experience. And I think if we listen, we keep our ears open and we listen more actively to our customers, it'll tell us a lot about the journey, the speed, and the type of agility and the capabilities that they're looking for, AWS and Cisco to provide in the market.
I love the way you've articulated that, because that resonates so well with the way we at AWS work backwards from the customer relentlessly. And I think that's the basis of the partnership that we have between Cisco and AWS. And I think in my experience, my first experience with Cisco is now close to 25 years ago, when I was crawling underneath network racks trying to build digital video systems in very grimy basements. And I was massively impressed by the support that I had from the Cisco team on the phone, between London and the US to, deploy software that we could actually test out to run. It was really, I think this is what you mentioned to me previously, it was really builders supporting builders. And I think that level of experience is critical for our customers. Cisco, after all, has been customer obsessed for a very long time, haven't you? 40
years. We've been customer obsessed. And you said 25 years. And if you can imagine, we're turning 40 this year.
40, wow.
And so, we've been, and our journey started with customers, and we haven't changed our commitment towards customers. We haven't changed our commitment towards our partners. And again, the strength of our partner ecosystem, I think, has separated us from many others in the industry. So, we are definitely customer obsessed. We've been customer success for 40 years, and I think we'll be customer obsessed for the next 40 years.
That's amazing. And certainly as I'm learning more about Cisco, working with the wider team, I've been super impressed that, in 25 years, nothing's changed, which is great.
Well, lots changed from an innovation, capabilities, all of that. But focus on customers, focus on customer outcomes, listening to our customers, and making sure that we're delivering quality and reliability for our customers. Like, that is foundational to who we are.
That's
and it's sort of ingrained in our culture.
Fantastic. And I think that cultural alignment is key. Another clear piece of cultural alignment, I think, is that relentless focus on security. You made the really critical point to me as we're preparing for the show when you mentioned that people might understand that Cisco is a ubiquitous name when it comes to connectivity. But you're very keen to point out that it's not so much connectivity, but it's secure connectivity, which is ultimately the cornerstone of what Cisco does and why you do it. Take us through that journey.
Well, today, people still think about Cisco as a networking company. They sort of, when they think Cisco, they automatically go to the network. And there's a lot that's true.
For good reason.
We are, and we will continue to be a premier networking company and making sure that we're delivering quality and reliability in the network. But sometimes I have to remind folks that Cisco is a lot more than just a networking company. Almost 51% of our business comes from subscription.
Right.
I think last year we did like $53.8 billion thereabouts in revenue.
Wow.
$29 billion of that was annualized recurring revenue.
Mm-hmm.
$18 billion was just in software.
Wow.
And so our feeling is that you can't be a great networking company without being a great security company.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a great security company without being a great AI company these days. And you can't be a great AI company if you don't have great data.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got to go on that journey of networking, security, AI, and data in regards to all the capabilities that we're delivering to the market. And so, our journey is really around still being a fantastic networking company. It doesn't matter where it is, but enabling the capabilities of what a fantastic networking company needs to be by using security across every aspect of every service that we deliver to our customers. And it doesn't matter if it's enterprise, public sector, service provider, commercial, small business. It's foundational to who we are. We don't even talk networking standalone anymore. We talk secure networking, secure data center, secure hybrid work, secure cloud. So all of the capabilities are supported by security, making sure that we're able to support our customers in their journey. And security is fundamental to a digitization journey.
There's two things that I think resonate really strongly with me. The first is the fact that security, as we said at AWS, it's our most important priority. And we certainly expect it to be the most important priority for our partners as well, because our customers expect it. As you said, you can't go on that transformation journey unless it's secure, because fundamentally, trust is something that takes a long time to earn. And unless you invest heavily in security on behalf of customers, it can be lost very quickly. So I think reinforcing the necessity of having that secure journey is almost taken as read now. And I think part of the challenge is understanding how it's a daily necessity for our customers, but it's so ingrained as an expectation that perhaps might not mention it, but it's always there. We always need to understand we've got to show up together to keep our customers safe and secure, because that is how we continually earn their trust every day and deliver for them when we show up together. And I think for me, that's what resonated really strongly as we're working on how we can shape up that joint value proposition of Cisco and AWS for our partners and thus our customers.
I think it's probably the one area, not the only, but one area that really does cement this partnership. Because if you're a customer today, nothing will slow you down faster than a threat or a threat actor or losing data or losing customer information, whatever it may be. And so I think security is foundational. And, it used to be a time where we used to bolt on security.
Yep.
It's so vital. You can't bolt on. It has to be foundational. It has to be part of the underlying architecture. And when we think about it and when we think about the partnership, it's clearly cloud protection. And I mean, you guys are a cloud giant. But it's also, how do you deal with breach protection? And what do you do when you do get breached? And then how do you deal with all your users that are working from everywhere on many different devices and many different locations in this hybrid world? And I think, those are the areas that, we're incredibly focused on as we think about our partnership together, so that we can build digital resilience for our customers. I mean, we've been talking, and we all talk digital resilience every day. Making digital resilience a reality, that's really hard work. And so being able to identify threats, being able to determine predictive on what actions you need to take, and being able to really develop mechanisms by which we make customers really secure is what we can do together that I think is going to help cement this relationship 1,000 times stronger than what it is today as we look down the road.
I think that's a great vision. Another really important point I think that you made has been neatly summed up by one of your colleagues in Australia, who mentioned to me one day in a way that really crystallized the challenge and the opportunity for me. He said, "Cloud lives at the end of a network." And although it sounds trite, I think it's absolutely correct. And it's such a brilliant way to think about the necessity of the why. Because Cisco being such a ubiquitous network company, a lot of folks at AWS might perceive, we tend to think of connectivity to a customer's environment as being AWS Direct Connect. And that's where we might fail to think about what happens upstream of that Direct Connect. And I think you cited some really great use cases, such as remote connectivity, thinking about, although you might have a workload that sits fully within AWS, your customers still need to connect into that workload. We've got some fantastic networking capability with the AWS Global Network, but fundamentally the customer from that endpoint needs to connect into those endpoints and then connect into their workload as well. So ultimately, there really is no cloud without networking anyway. So as long as we understand that there's that, the joint value is critical to our customers because it's almost expected, we're missing a trick, aren't we?
Yeah, but you said it so well. I mean, you need networking to connect to every service, to connect to every application, to connect to the cloud, no matter where the cloud sits. The network is fundamental. When you're a user, sometimes we forget.
It's like it's magic.
You've got to connect to that access point. That access point has to be connected to a network. That network is connected to an edge device or an access device, which goes over a service provider network. And eventually
it gets to a direct connect pop.
It gets there. But the network is foundational. And if that is not there, and if it's not secure, and you don't have insights and visibility into all of those services, then you could be really disappointed when if you're not able to get to the POP and you're not able to get to the workload, no matter where it's sitting. And so the network is vital to all of this. At the same time, I think which is really important to this partnership is so much of what we do is software defined today. We talk software-defined networking. We talk about software-defined segmentation, software-defined WAN. All of the observability and the insights mechanisms are through software. All the security control mechanisms are in software. I think that's the vital part of some of the work that we're doing together.
Absolutely.
The network is fundamental, but as we think about the partnership and all those capabilities that we're working together on, they're all SaaS based, and again, I think that is so important to realize as part of this discussion and partnership.
And certainly, being SaaS based, they all will run on AWS as well, giving you almost that seamless visibility across all of your environments. Because I think something else, which in my experience working with a variety of both very large and small partners over the years, is that security is obviously an absolutely critical customer capability. But operational friction is something that always slows customers down, and trying to identify where those pinch points are and what tools we could be using, especially as partners, to accelerate that customer transformation really relies on working with those best-of-breed providers like Cisco, who've got those solutions which integrate very tightly with both hardware and software to give us the outcomes we need. And for me, I think learning how we can accelerate those outcomes, working with the right tools from the partnership, are going to be critical for our partners to learn as well.
I think you're absolutely correct. And again, you're looking at it from AWS to Cisco side. I look at it from the Cisco side and a customer side. And I think what customers think about is they want speed, they want agility, they want simplicity. And so if we can make it easy for them to be able to turn up workloads, to be able to turn on firewalls, to be able to provide secure access, all of those capabilities, that just helps them in their business and delivering the outcomes that they want to go deliver. And so that's what I think is really magical about the opportunity together, is to deliver speed, agility, simplicity, and an incredible amount of innovation that's delivered through two very strong, world-renowned deliverers of capabilities. And so I just think there's a credible opportunity between the both of us to really help our customers move more rapidly and help them do business better in the future.
And faster, and serve their customers sooner, because fundamentally it's about that agility driving innovation. We know that our customers will move to AWS for a variety of reasons. Generally, it's about being able to serve their customers better or faster at a lower price point. And the tools that can provide that to make the right way the easy way and the safe way the easy way, that relies a lot of consistency of governance tooling, observability tooling, security tooling across their on-prem environments and their cloud environments, but everything in between as well. Because one thing I think which we need to be aware of is that migrations of complex workloads and complex customer environments that have evolved over the years, it's not instantaneous, it takes a while. And I think it's critical that our partners understand that if there's any opportunity anywhere to accelerate that process, just to simplify it, even incrementally, it can have profound impacts on the ability to transform their businesses and serve their customers faster.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, I wish there was, a magic button that people can push very quickly to move.
The instant migration button, we could just smash that one.
I wish there was. And, but people need tooling. They need capabilities. They need observability, insights, and visibility into everything that they do. And, being able to provide those capabilities is what we're doing. And I think, that's the opportunity for both of us and for our partners to really leverage, the partnership between AWS and Cisco to get those tooling, to get the visibility, to get the capabilities, to get the security, and go to one place to do it. And so it sort of is a one-stop shop for all of those capabilities. And I think helping them see that and understand how they can quickly support the business and all the integration and the migration work that needs to happen.
Again, it comes down to, at AWS, we talk a lot about undifferentiated heavy lifting. Something else I'm finding resonates really well with partners and customers is identifying where there's also operational undifferentiated heavy lifting. And that single pane of glass approach with consistency across all of the environments, whether you're migrating or whether you're operating hybrid workloads, or whether you're operating a fully migrated customer, but with a huge amount of network connectivity and network fabric, connecting branch offices, for example, if they're in financial services, the factory floor in multiple locations if they're in manufacturing. All of this requires a great deal of expertise and observability. And I think one of the things which I learned from the Cisco folks is you've got a very unique perception of how observability drives security outcomes. And you understand that unless you can see something, you can't secure it. And actually understanding how security and observability are two sides of the same coin, which ultimately drive significantly better outcomes, that was a fascinating journey for me to go. And I'd love it if you could unpack that a bit for us.
Yeah, I mean, our belief is to be able to secure something or to understand where something is in its own journey and if it's secure or not secure, you need to be able to see it.
Yeah.
You need to be able to identify where there are anomalies. And
even if they're behind firewalls or strange IoT devices we've never heard of.
Things sit everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about, 1 billion plus connected devices, right, around the world. And you've got to be able to get visibility in those devices to know if they're secure, what type of connectivity they have, all of those things. And so visibility and insights is absolutely fundamental for what actions you need to take. If you can't see it, how are you going to secure it? And, getting that visibility, getting the insights, getting observability into what's going on, the number of devices, everything that's happening out there will really drive the next steps that you need to take on how you're going to secure it. What mechanisms are you going to use to secure it? And, that's the way we think about it. That's why observability, insights, and visibility is so foundational to what we think about at Cisco. And it's not just, network visibility. And, we acquired Thousand Eyes a few years ago, which is our software tool for being able to look at network visibility across many different services. But now we have Splunk that's coming to the table, and
which is fantastic.
Splunk providing that monitoring and that visibility and that observability. At the application layer, looking at anomaly detection and logging. You have now network visibility below. So what we're really talking about is full stack observability, which is really what you need. Because if you're looking at just the applications, but you have no visibility of the networking services below.
It's an incomplete view, isn't it?
It's an incomplete view.
Yeah.
And if you're just looking at the networking services below and you don't have the application visibility.
Because the application is what your customers are actually interacting with.
So you have a miss if you don't have it all. So it really is about the full stack. How do you have visibility up and down the stack? And that's the way we look at it.
Yeah.
And those are the capabilities that we want to be able to make sure that we're delivering, with AWS, so that customers, as they go through the migration journey, which we said is fairly complex and takes time, that they have the visibility, they have the observability. They're able to identify where there may be problems and anomalies that they need to address. And giving them that visibility, I think, will first of all make them feel more comfortable, but really allow them to be much more proactive instead of reactive, and give them the comfort that things are going the way that they plan for them to go.
If you've got that comfort from that observability and you understand that you are moving the right way, you can then double down and move faster. And I think one of the things when we speak about the network and the application, there's of course the cloud infrastructure as well. There's the AWS services, which I think integrate deeply into the Cisco observability tools, which provide us the complete view both of the on-prem infrastructure, the cloud infrastructure on AWS, the applications, the networking, and everything sits in between to provide that complete picture, which I think is fascinating. And I think our partners need to be deeply aware of how that can build the confidence that you're moving in the right way so you can move faster.
Think about it. You're an engineer, and I can't even imagine how many phone calls you've taken that where a customer calls you and says, I can't reach my application.
It's like,
why?
Where do you start?
Why? And so then you have to, so then you begin the process of the needle in the haystack.
Yep.
Where is the problem? Is the problem at the application? Is it the network? Is it the provider? Is it local network? Is it the user?
It'd be great to have a single pane of glass that says the problem's here.
Imagine being able to identify quickly where the issue is. And so that's the idea, is to be able to identify very quickly. But even better than that is, I'd like to know that there's a problem before the customer calls me.
Of course.
And so I could call the customer
and say, there might be a problem, but don't worry, you fixed it. It won't impact you.
We know exactly where the problem is, and this is exactly what we're doing to address it. And so that's where we want to get to. And that's why these tools, I think, are so important. And they definitely speed the migration, but it's about customer experience. We talked about being customer obsessed in the beginning.
Yeah.
This allows our customers to be obsessed about their customers and us to be obsessed about our customers, giving them insights, visibility, and letting them take action as quick as possible. I think AI is going to be important to this journey as well.
I think Cisco is obviously, you are a major SaaS and ISV provider as well, not just a networking company, not just a secure networking company, but you are fundamentally a very mature SaaS provider. And what I've been learning about recently is how you've actually leveraged AI to actually drive better outcomes across the board, which is fantastic. Being able to think about how can AI come to the table to drive better operational, better security, better visibility outcomes for our customers, because you can't look at everything. Previously, you'd have to sample it. Using the power of AI, you can actually look at everything, can't you?
Well, AI is going to, I think, help us discern where issues potentially are and what actions we need to take, and maybe provide some good recommendations. We've been on the AI journey for a decade.
Yeah.
Everyone's been using predictive AI for many cases to identify where there's potential issues, to trigger events, and allow somebody to take action. But now with generative AI, AI can help make some recommendations and potentially avoid maybe the long-term process of human validation along the way.
Yeah.
There still needs to be a human to maybe push the button at the end of the day, to make the final decision. But AI is going to help us identify where there are potential issues quicker, identify which events are events you need to take action on.
Right.
And if we think about where we're going with inference, may make some really good advice and recommendations, and be able to discern where real problems are versus what's just noise. And so there's a lot of noise in the system today. Identifying where you really need to take action and address concerns or real problems, AI is going to make a big difference in helping all of us do that.
I look forward to what that looks like. I think that solves one of the key issues. As you move that needle between the specificity of the observability and your sensitivity levels, you're always going to be making that trade-off, or we have always had to make the trade-off to say, well, I need to cast a wide net. I don't want to miss something that's critical, but then you've got to sift through the noise. Or you could reduce the noise, but potentially miss something that's critical. So I think I'm really excited about what AI is going to do to allow us to not have to make that trade-off anymore.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. And not only not make that trade-off, but we talk about speed, agility, simplicity.
Simplifying it.
It plays a big role in making all of that happen. And so as you think about Cisco, and for many that are listening in, they've always thought about Cisco as a hardware company. I want them to really think about Cisco moving forward as a platform company. It's around hardware, software, and services all coming together to help deliver that great customer experience. And so when you think about it that way, you get a much different perspective of where Cisco has gone over the last 40 years.
It's a very different, more holistic view. Certainly, I think a lot of our customers are struggling with the challenges of complexity in every stage. And the way you've described the ability to interconnect across different domains but within the same platform, I think looking at what the operational impact of that is going to be profound. If there's the ability for our customers to leverage best-of-breed solutions which all talk to each other rather than having to piece things together and do a lot of wiring yourself, I think that alone could be a tremendous acceleration.
I think, we said speed, agility, simplicity, but then it's the operational cost, right? And so what you're talking about is operational efficiencies. How do you bring things together much more easily across many different domains? And it doesn't matter if you're on the manufacturing plant floor, a retailer, or in financial services and regulated markets, or national critical infrastructure, to be able to bring all of these components together. Because guess what? They're all either running workloads in the cloud, running workloads on-prem. They need networking, they need security, they need observability, they need insights. There's an opportunity for us to deliver those services for our customers, and we can do that together.
One of the things which also stands out for me is because Cisco is obviously such a renowned, ubiquitous networking company to begin with. One thing which you mentioned to me, which I found incredibly thought-provoking and was immediately obvious in retrospect, was that AWS partners are going to be Cisco partners anyway, even if they don't realize it, because the chances are incredibly high that our customers are probably running a great deal of your kit anyway.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of our partners. I mean, we're a partner company.
Of course.
We partners at the core of what we do. They're all AWS partners, all of them. And so we have this discussion every day of what else can we be doing together. And so, all of our partners are AWS partners. AWS partners will probably be Cisco partners as well. And I do think there's just incredible synergy between the two. And imagine if they can leverage all those capabilities on the AWS side and the Cisco side to deliver rich capabilities to customers and even to their partners, because maybe they may have tier 2 partners that are supporting them. I think it's magical for many of our partners. And so I do think there's incredible opportunity, and the partners are critical to all of this.
Yeah. And a great way for them to get started could be thinking about how, because you are also a SaaS company, you're also an ISV, solutions which will be familiar to folks on-prem are also going to be available on AWS Marketplace, so our partners can look at how they can, build those solutions into their own solutions and become those Cisco partners too. I think that's a great way to get started too.
Yeah, and even if the customer is a networking customer today and they're coming, they all want software-defined capabilities. They're all looking for automation. They're all looking for security. all of that can be built around. And again, if you start to think about where Cisco is today, hardware plus software plus services is what we think about in everything that we do.
Yeah.
Not sort of standalone in one area, but we think about how do you bring that all together. I think that's the opportunity. Even for customers that are just networking customers today, partners can come in and equip them to be observability and insight and networking, automation, security, everything as they move services to the cloud, as they run services from the cloud. I just think there's incredible opportunity here.
Another opportunity, I think, is where our partners have developed deep specializations. Having Cisco and AWS working together with their partners who are, as we've said, our partners, it allows us to orchestrate that relationship really effectively for our customers. So where potentially a migration partner needs that skill and capability, they can reach into the pool of Cisco partners to help them solve for these point solutions. And where potentially we've got a networking opportunity that might require deep AWS expertise, likewise, we should be encouraging our partners to think about how we can reach across the gap to collaborate, because ultimately we're serving the same customer from different directions. And if we can line up, we'll be significantly more effective as a massive force multiplier. That's how I kind of see this.
I do too. And teaming is such a powerful thing when you see teaming between our partners.
Showing up together, really.
Well, showing up together. If they don't have, they've got great expertise in delivering a capability, but maybe they're not deep in the manufacturing or the IoT space or the OT space.
Yeah.
And they need help to do that. And so there's partners that are very good at that, but may not be good at migration to the cloud.
Yeah.
May not be good at understanding the things that they need to do when they make a SaaS transition. And so I think the teaming model is probably the most powerful thing that I see in the partnership relationship, because it creates a really powerful combination. And sometimes that powerful combination just doesn't show up in just one customer engagement.
Of course.
It becomes the model by which they go after many others and many opportunities together. And that's, you hope you see something like that happen. And we have seen a lot of that activity occur.
I think that's really a great way that our partners can think about getting started. What are some of the other ways you think, Dave, that our partners should get started as a takeaway from our session today?
I think they should first understand. Go out and take a look at the marketplace. Understand all the capabilities that are there. Understand the strength of the partnership and understand the power. I think you said it really well. Cloud sits at the end of the network. And then think about all the services that customers require today as they go on their digital journey. I think that's the one thing I'd love partners to understand. And so, who we were a decade ago together and who we are today and what we're going to be in the next 12 to 18 months, it's an incredibly powerful story. And I think the partners that understand that figure out how to leverage the two of us working together, the capabilities that we're going to be, running on AWS and helping our customers go faster, be more agile, and simplify the process are the ones that will be most successful. So I think be inquisitive, be curious, learn and go deeper. And then, my ask of all the partners out there is let us know what else we need to be doing, where we need to be going quicker, what are the other services we can be helping with, and how do we leverage the incredible power of the marketplace and the incredible depth of both of AWS and Cisco to help them be successful in delivering customer services.
We're listening, so let us know, I think is critical. We need to be ruthlessly customer obsessed because I think that's how we get great results. And our partners can be our customers' voices as well. I think that's also critical to remember.
Yeah, our partners are just incredibly competent, incredibly capable, but both of our partners together.
Absolutely.
We can learn from them and we can learn together. And I think that's what we want to try to do, really thinking about the customer as the end state here and making sure that they are incredibly successful and that we really deliver the outcomes that we promise them.
Dave, I think that's a fantastic place to to stop today. Thank you so much for joining us. I've had a tremendous time learning from you, and thanks for spending the time talking to us and sharing with our partners.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. So thanks again for the partnership.
Thank you, Dave. And from me, thank you very much. And do please join us our next episode of Partner Buzz, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thank you.